Dear friends, welcome to the series of talks on prayer titled When I Cannot Pray, 42nd episode. Today we will deal with intellect and thought. In active prayer, such as discursive meditation, thought becomes an integral part of our prayer. Any thought that is not actively a part of prayer is distraction. Anything drawing us away from the presence of God, such as work, game, reading a book or novel, a part of a movie, a relationship, and so on, can distract us. However, thought during prayer can nourish us in solving a problem or can contribute to the growth of an idea, provided we just let everything in the hands of the Lord through faith. In prayer, we show that our dependence is on the Lord, who is the beginning and end of everything we have and are. There are various thoughts, and especially thoughts that are stressful, that can carry us away from experiencing prayer. It all depends on our awareness of such thoughts. Awareness, which can be also termed watchfulness, could aid us in letting that particular thought go without much interference in our prayer. That's why Jesus very clearly said, "Watch and pray." This way, the stress will flow out without causing much damage to us. Thoughts are necessary for prayer, and they can be trained in such a way that they aid us rather than distract us. The more aware we are of thoughts, the less stressful they become, leading us into peace of prayer. Therefore, Saint Teresa of Avila writes, "It is very important in the initial stages of prayer not to be intimidated by thoughts." In the Book of Our Life, chapter 13, paragraph 7. In our relationship with God, beyond all doing, talking, and thinking, there need to be times when we are simply present to Him in fullness of our being, experiencing the immediacy of His loving and life-giving presence to us. At such times, there may still be thoughts and words, but they are inconsequential. We may use a prayer word, a word expressing our love, to reinforce the presence, but it is the immediate presence of the Lord that should be the focus of all our attention. That's very important in prayer. The closeness of the Lord, the awareness that we are in the presence of the Lord is looking at us, and we try our best to relate ourselves with Him. At times, we think of God during prayer. Thinking actually is not concerned with prayer. They are thoughts about Him that do not establish any direct contact with Him. So while we pray, we are speculating about God and about spiritual life, or composing beautiful prayers or sermons. These thoughts are right in their place, but these do not satisfy the soul, but rather give satisfaction to the mind. That's a very clear thing. Our prayer can be used for creating thoughts or creating beautiful homilies or reflections. That is not prayer. Our intellect is always crowded with thoughts, ideas, emotions, etc. It cannot long remain in vacuum. When the intellect is emptied, something is bound to enter. To be happier and healthier, we need to renew our minds, that is, change the pattern of our thoughts. That is why St. Paul suggests, "Do not conform yourself to this age, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind, that you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and pleasing and perfect." In his letter to Romans chapter 12, verse 2. An inflow of new thoughts will remake us. If we can leave the mind behind, if we can suddenly transcend the mind and come out of it, clarity will happen to us. This, in simple terms, is called lived faith or practical faith. We can be clear, but not the mind. There never has been and never will be such a thing as clear mind. Mind means unclarity, confusion. It can be purified and kept still only through faith. If we can transcend the mind, many things will be clear to us. Many of our problems are in our mind. What is mind? A continuous process and procession of thoughts, associated, non-associated, relevant, irrelevant, many multidimensional impressions gathered from everywhere. The whole of life is a gathering of thoughts, judgments, and ideas. And this goes on and on. Consequently, various kinds of thoughts disturb our prayer. We need to know how to tackle them. The kinds of thoughts could be, for example, superficial thoughts. Pay no attention to them. In spite of their invasion, stay in conversation with God in silence. They come and go. Trying to analyze them will disturb the aim of prayer. There are also interesting thoughts. They call for reaction. Do not reflect on them. Do not be annoyed. Return to your desire to be with God. They may be of a thing we have seen, maybe a smile or a gesture of a person. Just to pray for that person. Then we can have brilliant thoughts. You may get a brilliant theological or psychological insight. Have ascetic discipline. Let go. Do not be attached to those ideas. Do not even try to add to such thoughts. Return to silence. Then we have reflective thoughts. You go deep. Time flashes past. Peace is deep. You reflect. How did I get there? Let go the reflection. Stay in faith. Do not possess it. Enjoy the presence. Rest in naked disinterestedness. Be at the present reality. Reflection on joy is an attempt to possess it. There we lose it. Have peace and do not think about having peace. Return to silence. Reflection adds up and it becomes a chain of reflections. Hurtful thoughts will generate hurtful feelings. In prayer, we become aware of our deep wounds, evil tendencies, tensions, motivations. If we remain in silence, in consciousness, a healing takes place without our knowledge. There is a catharsis and purification going on. Accept it, let go. Return to silence. If the depth of our intellect is to be healed, such thoughts must recur until they are permanently healed through the grace of God. If we monitor, dear friends, these thoughts and remain in simple faith, we grow in prayer. Voluntary thinking is a big hindrance for prayer. At times, we squeeze our brains for ideas during prayer, and that could be the end of prayer. Thoughts always look for solution, explanation, and proofs. Restraint of thought is faith, and this is darkness to our intellect. That is what actually can happen during our prayer. Dear friends, intellect is sometimes wild. It can go wild, as I have explained to you. During prayer, we require, as I told you in the previous talks, we require awareness, consciousness, and try to perhaps use the senses to go deeper into yourself and never give much importance to thoughts. The screen of our mind always is active. Someone said, I read that our mind can produce approximately 45 to 50,000 thoughts a day. During prayer, certainly there will be thoughts. But we have an inner mechanism to stop those chain of thoughts and descend deeper into the heart level and experience deeper prayer. What will happen in the deeper prayer without thoughts? Thoughts will be always there, but we are strengthened from within. If you sit for 15 minutes in silent prayer, it could spark a divine contact deep within ourselves. It could be a moment without your awareness, but you are simply energized with that power. It could happen in seconds during those 15 minutes. But we need to prepare for that particular spark of the divine in the depth of our heart. Prayer is, we give 10 minutes or 15 minutes, but there is a moment. God does not need time. God requires that spiritual sparking within our soul. God can do it within no time. Only when you experience it, you will live it, you will know it, you will understand it, and you will reap the fruits of it. Give a try with all the techniques and with all the reflections that I have given so far to experience this sparking moment in the depth of your heart. You will be a happy person. That's a guarantee. Let's try it. God bless you.